We have a quorum, so welcome to the joint meeting for the Rules and Open Government Committee and Committee of the Whole. Tony, can we take roll call, please?
Arenas? Thank you. Cohen?
Here.
Davis? Peralez?
Here.
Jones?
Present.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to start out by reviewing the agenda for March 16th. And we're going to start out on pages 4 and 5. And I see that we have closed session starting at 9, so that's already there. Pages 6 and 7. Eight and 9. Ten and 11. And that is it. So we're going to go to public comments and Paul Soto. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor Chappie. Jones, Paul Soto, this agenda just came up like maybe within the hour. I haven't had time to prepare. I need at least a few days in advance. We're getting kind of like just shafted with procedure. I mean, this is a very critical time in San Jose politics, economics. People are dying on the east side. We're getting dogged out by the governor. I mean, do I really have to like say it this blatantly to you? We know we're getting shafted and we're being denied the ability to democratically affect the changes that are absolutely necessary in this city. You know, I mean, what is it going to take for our government to understand that the citizenry is not playing with the government? We're not playing with you, but you are playing with us. You know, I'm being denied my constitutionally protected right to participate in the democratic process. This is it right here. And I'm being denied that because these agendas are being posted minutes before these meetings. And so that's number one. Number two is that on this agenda item 4.1 and 4.2, I don't want them taken together. These are separate issues, and I would like them to be taken as separate issues so I can comment on each one of them. Okay, that's number one. Number two, if we can have a time certainty on these so that I can prepare, you know, some people in the community that are going to want to participate in this particular agenda items. So you know, if I can't believe that I'm asking my government if I could please participate in the democratic process, but if that's what it takes in order to serve the needs of my people, I'll do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. On that issue that Paul raised, which I know has been brought up a couple of times, Tony, I know that you have a process in place. Is there any thought or work being done in terms of how to improve the process or make it more transparent or educate the public on how things work?
I'm definitely working on educating the public on how everything's working. And I'm not sure where that timer is coming from. So there. I'm working on videos. So I did a video on how to read the rules committee, and I'm working on finding the time to do like a coffee with the clerk online, like an online Zoom where people can ask questions so I can explain some of these things. The Brown Act, as you know, allows for 72 hours before a meeting to post the agenda. What we do in the city of San Jose is we have the Rules and Open Government Committee, which meets to set the agenda. In a lot of other cities, and this is, as you know, San Jose is not my first municipality. So in other cities, what we did was the city staff put together the agendas and we posted the agendas before the meeting. There was no process where the council met before the meeting to go over the agenda, to set time certains, to add items. There was no time for the public to have comments ahead on that agenda. So that's kind of what today is. I don't know if because this is off the cuff. I don't know if I'm explaining it correctly or clearly, but the agendas for today are posted at the last minute because for rules, because we're just putting them together. The rules agenda and all the items that aren't related to the 2 future council agendas, those were posted a week ahead of time or 4 days ahead of time. So like agenda item G, 1, 2, 3, those are all posted the way we would normally post for any other agenda. But because these are the council agendas that we're putting together and the staff, the admin is putting them together, on Monday for 2 weeks out. It's impossible for us to post them on Fridays with everything else unless we back up all of the timelines. And we're already backed up because we post 10 days out. So now we would be asking staff to have items 3 weeks ahead of a meeting. So like the agenda for the 23rd, this is the first time anybody's seeing it because it's not even finished. This is the chance where you guys can add things to it. You can change things, and then we'll look at it again next week. So the public will have a whole week ahead of us even having the meeting to look at it and talk next week about anything that they have questions about or want a time certain. So it's like, yes, we're working on it. No, we're not working on it because the sunshine process itself is making everything available way ahead. If we didn't have rules, the agenda would just post this Friday.
Mm-hmm.
That would be the first the public is seeing it. So they're actually seeing it a few days before they would normally see it. So that's why I think based on these questions, it would be really good for me to have like a coffee with the clerk so people can ask those questions and I can explain it and maybe explain it a little bit better than I'm explaining it right now.
No, I understand exactly what you're saying, Tony. And I think it really is around setting expectations.
Mm-hmm.
If the expectation is that the public, it's particularly the second agenda, not the first agenda, but the second agenda that's, a week out. If the expectation is that they should have early access to that agenda, then that's one thing. But if we set the expectations that this is the first look for everyone on that agenda, and they'll have
Right.
multiple opportunities to have input, then that expectation is set.
Yes.
But it needs to be some education
Mm-hmm.
goes along with that.
Yep.
All right, well, thank you. I'm going back to public comments. Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Happy Wednesday. Thanks. That was a really good explanation by Tony. That was fairly good. Coffee with the city clerk sounds like a great idea. There's 2 items on the agenda that were of interest to me. Smart wave technology for the east side that, these are bridging the digital divide issues that, it's my formal way to work at this time that for whenever you say the terms digital divide, to bridge the digital divide, however you say that, it should be included the ideas of open public policy should be included in those practices. I think that is a more rounded way to talk about our future, and it invites just a more harmonious community process, which I think we all want and need at this difficult time in our lives. It's good, fun stuff, open public policy. I don't think it has to be fearful. There can be ways to make it an enjoyable process for all of us. About the issues of there's police reform issues that, that was somewhat addressed at Open Forum yesterday by 3, important regular activists of San Jose. And, they're interested in the assistant police chief from Pittsburgh as an outside voice. And so I respect that a lot, you know, and I have my own feelings, but I'm very much, it is, to me, it's between those two people, Meta and the assistant police chief from Pittsburgh. And I just wanted to remind, you know, I reviewed the police review session they had, police committee session they had. You know, there, and the ideas of reimagine that the police will be involved with in the future. In all the cooperative good work, there has to be remembering that it's to practice minimum practices of police. That's an important
Thank
goal
you,
in the
Blair.
future. Thank you.
That's it for public comments. Bringing it back to the committee. Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. And appreciate you interjecting there and asking Tony for some clarification. I think there definitely needs to be some level of expectation on what, you know, we see here at this agenda, and recognize that at some point there's always going to be a first look for everybody, including us on the council. And we want to be able to have enough time for people to chime in. And in this instance, you know, I think we recognize that we get a couple bites of the apple at these further out draft agendas, but we certainly need to be clear so that way everybody that's trying to participate can be made aware of you know, what it is they're looking at, and if it is the first time. And you know, so I think nonetheless it certainly has come up a couple times, and it's you know, if you want to participate in the process, you know, and you see something pop up just 30 minutes beforehand, you know, clearly it puts you at a disadvantage. But I think in this case, being on this committee, we equally are at the same disadvantage because we see it at the same time. So it's not necessarily that we're subjecting our community to anything any different than we are subjecting ourselves to. It's just unfortunate because at some point we need to have this information come out, and having it come out as soon as possible gives us an opportunity to then make amendments and adjustments with a lot of time in advance. And so that then gives us an opportunity, say, for instance, you know, next week to discuss a little further on, you know, what this next item will be, which is the 23rd agenda, like we're doing today with this 16th agenda. And with that in mind, on the 16th agenda, I want to clarify one thing because Paul did bring it up. I don't believe we are looking at hearing 4.1 and 4.2 together, right? It looks like those are going to be heard separately.
Yes.
That is correct.
Okay, so I think that is clarified, and I obviously would support that. I think staff supports that as well. That's not the suggestion. And then I think the only other request there, and I would like to see if we can do so as well, which would be to give a time certain for at least for the 4.1, and then that way maybe 4.2 can follow it. But or maybe we can ensure that they happen in succession with just a starting point of a time certain. And I'm looking at the agenda. We talked about this last week, that we don't quite know how long maybe the budget message will go. 3.1, are we getting an update, Lee, on 3.1?
You are not.
So
Or I should say, currently we are not planning for one. If anything were to change over the weekend dramatically, we obviously would keep the right to inform the council, but as of right now, we're not planning for anything.
Okay. So outside of the mayor's budget message, I don't see anything that looks like we're going to be taking significant amount of time besides these two items, 4.1 and 4.2. So I am a little nervous about setting a time that's later if it looks like we may actually get to them sooner. I don't know, maybe Chair, do you have any wise input or staff on what your thoughts might be on this? If maybe this is the chance we talked about this before, this might be a chance we use the not to be heard before, even though we know that that's not the best, but in this case, because we think maybe it'll be a little bit lighter agenda.
Actually, I saw Lee. Did you, were you raising your hand?
It's just one thing you could do as a committee is have 4.1 and 4.2 heard last, so that you're not restricted to any time specific thing, but those will come up obviously much later in the meeting and closer to when people are off work. So that is one option, but we did not recommend that, so that the Rules Committee had flexibility on moving that around today.
So
Okay.
that is one option. And other option is to not, not before.
Yeah, I guess I don't mind the not to be heard last either, but I think that still doesn't give any kind of, any bit of certainty on when it might happen. And at least the not to be heard before, if we do end up moving through a little quicker, then the worst case scenario is we take a little bit of a break. But
Right.
so I would maybe prefer the not to be heard before, and we do hear them in succession, and I don't know, might suggest not to be heard before something like 4 o'clock or something, but I'm willing to take suggestions on that, or hear from my colleagues or staff on what your thoughts might be. This is all a guessing game, so.
Yeah, well, I had 4 o'clock in my head as well, but just for transparency, I predicted that yesterday's meeting was going to be over by 3:30. So
It is a guessing game. so.
Take my guesses with a grain of salt.
If there's no other input, I'll make the motion. But again, I'm happy to be flexible. So I'll move that we accept the agenda for the March 16th meeting, and that we have 4.1 and 4.2 not to be heard before 4 p.m. and heard in succession.
Second.
All right. Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, well, that was actually what I was going to suggest was 4 o'clock, because we could get through it quickly. And if you have to take a little bit of a break at 3 to wait till 4, I think that's reasonable. So I support that. The only other thing I would just say is that this agenda has been online on the city's website since last Tuesday afternoon, because we approved it the first time at last week's rules committee. So I'm just so that people understand in the public, it's a little confusing. After the first reading, it gets posted publicly and it's there for the whole week before the second reading. And the second reading is what we really have more of an opportunity to play around with the details on the agenda. And it's that new agenda, the 23rd agenda, that is brand new to all of us. And we're kind of just preliminarily approving anyway before next week's meeting. So I appreciated that Tony gave us that overview about the work it takes to get all these things together in a timely manner, and sort of a reminder of the Brown Act requirements that we're going way above and beyond by posting things even further in advance than the law requires us to. So I appreciate all the work that staff does to get all these things out in a timely manner. And even though it's so frustrating to some of us that we don't have a lot of time to review that second agenda, honestly, since we have a whole nother week to review it again, it's a reasonable process, I think.
Thank you. So it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Peralez,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on to the agenda for Tuesday, March 23rd. And we're going to start out on pages 4 and 5. Six and 7. Eight and 9. 10 and 11. 12 and 13. And that's it. So we're going to go to the public. And the first speaker has a number that ends in 4963.
Hi, Martha O'Connell, representing Golden State Manufactured Homeowners Association, drawing your attention to 8.3. There might be significant public interest in this. I encourage you to do a reasonable time, a time certain. Last time you were discussing an issue that the mobile home residents were very concerned about. It was the continued freeze on rent increases. We had a bunch of speakers lined up. I'm not throwing stones at you guys. I'm just telling you the truth. The meeting went on so long. I was getting emails and phone calls from people saying, we just cannot hang, we can't hang on this phone or in front of this TV for this long. And so they dropped out and they did not testify. So I'm hoping that you can not do that this time around. But I will also add, I can't predict how many people are going to show up to speak, because honestly, when they wait on the phone for hours and hours, they get disillusioned and they say, hey, Martha, we did it the first time and we didn't even get a chance to speak, so we're out of here. We're not doing it again. So please keep that in mind. If you want to maximize public participation on this item, please give us a reasonable time certain. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman. To try to clarify my last words from the previous public comment, it's a matter that we're considering, we're all in a process of cooperation with the future of Reimagine, but from that, we can be, and from that, there has to be an idea of minimal practices that has to be involved with that, of the future of policing, the police department. For this agenda item, for the agenda items on COVID issues, I think we're learning after a year now the importance of rent forgiveness, and that we can more openly talk about its issues. And to me, that's the important goal, is to not hide rent forgiveness ideas under superstition or fear of, it's a socialist plot and all those things. It may be those things, but we have an important, need to address them openly and formally and not be hidden and secretive about it. And, that way people don't get hurt. And owners, apartment owners, really need to understand that concept and how it can really be of help and benefit to everyone. And it's tough lessons to learn, but I think we can get through something if people can be open to its ideas and this final stages and next stages of rent forgiveness questions that you have. Good luck in yourselves and how you will work with the entire community on the issue. Thanks.
Thank you. Paul?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Thank you for the sensitivity with regard to the time-sensitive issue. And I didn't understand anything that was said. I know it makes sense to you, but it just didn't make sense to me. I just don't comprehend it. Once I get it, I'll get it, but I just don't understand it. Anyways, with respect to 8.1, 8.2, what's happening with these grant programs is that the city is writing these grants saying that they're going to help out this one particular community, which is the community in 8.2. And what they do is they get the grant money and then they put it to use, but it's to fortify these quote unquote affordable housing places. And it's at the expense of these people that are suffering and experiencing the poverty. It never really actually goes directly to them. And so I've seen this over and over again, and it's really offensive. I don't care if it's legal. Who cares if it's legal? We really need to move away from this. Well, is this legal? Like us making the assumption that because it's legal, it's moral and it's ethical. And so long as I have the legal protection, then I could do something immoral and unethical. See, we need to really get away from that kind of thinking, because I think that has infected our government. It's infected our democracy. And we really need to start having some moral authority to start exercising the execution of these laws. And so with that said, I'm really very concerned about 8.2 and what is going to happen in the pain and the sorrow and the disruption and the confusion and the apathy and the indifference and the viciousness that comes out of, and it comes directly out of Oliverio's mouth, especially in the piece that he did today with respect to the opportunity housing in Willow Glen.
Thank you, Paul. Bring it back to the committee. Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, first question is, this has some pretty major items on this agenda, and I think it's a little early for us to fit time certain. We can do that next week, but certainly the homelessness report, the water hearing, if it happens that day, and the item 8.3 as well on rent assistance are all things that we would try to schedule in some way to make them time certain. I imagine that the water hearing will be quite a large audience and be important to a lot of people. Is that one's a placeholder right now because we don't know for sure that we've got confirmation that all the players can be there? Is that the idea?
Tony, would you mind speaking to that? I believe you're working on the placeholder for that item.
I don't really have any answers right now. I am working on the placeholder information for that.
Yeah, Council Member Cohen and Rules Committee, my understanding is that the mayor's office and our Department of Environmental Services have engaged San Jose Water Company to have this discussion. And I believe a memorandum to the Rules Committee for agendizing that would probably come before this committee next week. So what I believe is the clerk is just putting that on there so that you guys can see kind of the overall outlook of what the agenda might or may not be.
Okay. And then is there going to be a or very short city manager report that week also, given these major items?
So we don't have a city manager's report planned for the 23rd or the 30th, at least at our current rate. The next one would be April 6th.
Thanks. So I'll make a motion that we approve this agenda. We have to change the closed session time to 9 o'clock. So that amendment. I also noticed, by the way, that on number 3.2 on this agenda, and actually the last one, it hasn't been corrected. It still says 9:30 there as well. And it's probably a minor point, but we should probably correct the 9:30 to 9 o'clock in both of those locations. So I'll make the motion to change the two 9:30 references to 9 o'clock and approve the March 23rd agenda. And then for last week's agenda, for the 16th agenda, which we already approved, I mean, maybe it's just a clerical change anyway. A separate motion.
So we'll take the first motion, and can I get a second?
Second.
Okay. Councilmember Perales.
Yeah, thank you. I would agree. I think this can be a pretty heavy agenda, and I think we can wait till next week to give any time certain, but I do think we will need to try and do a couple time certains here, or at least give some indication of when some of these items will be heard, because we'll have a lot of interest. So I won't dive into that now, but I think that's it. I'll move forward. Thanks.
Thank you. So we've had a motion and a second. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Perales,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye. So going back to Councilmember Cohen's other point, so you said that, I know it was showing up properly, closed session at 9, but you said that there was another.
Yeah, this is Tony. I just fixed it. It's under item 3.2. It says accept labor relations report at 9:30.
Okay.
So next time we publish, that'll all be fixed.
Okay, great. Thank you. So we are on to item B1, review the March 15th special meeting agenda on the city roadmap. And we have Blair Beekman. Go ahead, Blair.
Hi, thank you that you're having a second meeting on COVID issues for this item. I hope it can be my, from my previous item that, the whole point of this time of COVID, I hope it can be a familiar subject for myself, that COVID is not the fault of the everyday person. And we're learning a system where the everyday person does not have to be held accountable. I mean, does not have to basically, pay its debt, basically. And that's a lot to learn. And that's, not easy for us to do, because we feel everyone should be guilty in this life and they owe money to somebody somewhere at some time. I mean, that's just like an American fact of life, that somehow that's the way it should work. But we're learning a system now that, this COVID is not our fault, and we should not have to pay back its debt. I mean, an everyday person shouldn't, anyway, and that takes a lot of practice by both owners and tenants and community and government. So, good luck in how we do that at this time. The work that I do is about the accountability with technology in as many forms is the ideas of, sustainability. What is really positive sustainability? And how do we, work to create a future that doesn't harm each other, basically? And I just ask for patience that, we work through this time together. I think it can lead to how to address, that we don't hurt each other in large scale social planning ideas in the future. And it's those sort of efforts that I hope we have patience to work with and talk about it in this upcoming workshop. Thank you.
Thank you. Paul?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. What I'd like, number one, get rid of the gong. Just X day on the gong day. Just get it out of there. I mean, that was really like dehumanizing, for such a sensitive subject. That's number one. Number two is we really have to see, we elect you to protect us. That's what you do, and that's what you signed up for, is to protect the community. We got dogged out by the state, by the county, and now by the city. We don't have any protections. What I fear is the language of the unheard is a riot. Martin Luther King Jr. stated this, and he was trying to tell the government that there is a DNA when social upheaval happens. And when you examine the DNA, when you look at it on its molecular level, you can see how it happened, that there was all of this neglect, all of this indifference, all of this apathy towards the suffering of people that cannot protect themselves, that are living impoverished, and that poverty was created. Poverty in this city is created. That's why we need to start talking openly about the redlining that happened. Okay, restrictive covenants happened, and what that did is it deprived people of the ability to establish themselves in a city that they had a right to do that in, because it was our bodies that produced the wealth that this city is sitting on. And so we really need to get comfortable with the most uncomfortable conversation that is going to be had in the history of San Jose. And that is redlining and the historical injustices, economic and social, that the Chicano community has experienced in this city. I look forward to participating in that, and any help that you need in articulating that, that's what I'm here.
Thank you, Paul. Bring it back to the committee. I don't see any hands raised, so can I get a motion, please?
Move approval. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, on to item D1, the joint City of San Jose, Santa Clara Valley Water District special meeting. I see one hand raised, two hands raised. Blair Beekman.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Blair Beekman here. Yeah, we are looking for ways in this really difficult time to not hurt each other. I think that should be the goal amongst all else. And I feel it's working on that goal, that we can address So these eras of COVID will never happen again, basically. And that comes from this time we work now and not hurting each other, I feel. And so with this issue, I feel that the water department is coming up with they need new ideas of revenue. And so they're coming up with subsidy ideas, which I think, it's going through city government at this time, say through garbage collection, through the community energy process. And I wanted to mention yesterday that I ran out of time, but I hope I can bring into this item today that, we're talking about issues of subsidy where, lower income people do not have to pay as much, but yet, COVID has created such an exorbitant stock market situation that rich people are living awesomely. I mean, they are set right now. So you're figuring out a system that more richer people can pay a higher price for water, for garbage, for community energy, and lower income people do not have to pay as much through the subsidy process. How that issue can eventually be, evolved, can maybe a local city can manage the subsidy funding program. I think San Jose would be a good beginning practice how to do that. And it's just and maybe there's ways to leave the subsidy altogether, but still offer the tiered system or some way that of a good fair share that people can be safe and comfortable and not be overcharged. And so good luck in how you work on this issue. And it's a lot. It's a big one. So thank you.
Thank you. Paul? Go ahead, Paul.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. The bearers of the maximum weight is going to be the Chicano community, the Latino community, the Chicano. I prefer the Chicano community, and we really need to put on record what is the city going to do about this, because we keep like it's almost implied that, well, if you can't afford to live here, that means you're too poor, that ergo you need to just leave. But that's not the truth. Poverty is being created, and it's being exercised in terms of the gentrification, what that looks like. It's being exercised on a population that has already experienced its own modern plague. It has wiped out 50% of the deaths in this city. I mean, and we don't really have a response to that. There needs to be a visceral response, a humane response. And much of that suffering is generational. Redlining states that if you are not good enough to, Martin Luther King stated, if you say that I am not good enough to live next to you, if you are saying that I am not good enough to work with you, if you're saying that I'm not good enough to go to the same schools as you, you are saying consciously or subconsciously that I do not deserve to exist. That, by definition, is genocide. Okay, Willow Glen is sitting on wealth that was ill-gotten because it is illegal, immoral, and unethical to profit from a system that on its face is illegal. So the city really needs to start contending with that issue.
Thank you, Paul. That's it for public comments. Bringing it back to the committee and Councilmember Cohen.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. I had been talking with had a meeting with the Water District last week, actually, talking to them about various things that they're working on. This meeting is discuss some of their big initiatives like groundwater recharge and expanding their water purification system. I expressed some concern to them that scheduling this meeting within the same week as we'd be having potentially a public hearing with San Jose Water would cause a lot of confusion about this meeting having to do with rates. And since this is a meeting with Valley Water and the other one is San Jose Water, I just want us to be very aware that this is a very different organization and has nothing to do with rates. And it's not Valley Water that is proposing to increase rates, but San Jose Water Company. And so when we promote this meeting and talk about it, I think there needs to be some clarity in how we all promote that this is happening and talk about it as a city to make it clear that there will be a separate hearing on the water rates issue with San Jose Water Company. So even I can't say that, with San Jose Water Company, and that this meeting on the 19th with Valley Water has nothing to do with rates and is not the same organization that's proposing to increase rates. So I just wanted to say that because I'm a little concerned about how this will be articulated given that these two things are happening in the same month.
Good point. Good point.
But having said that, I'll move the approval of the agenda for the March 19th hearing.
All right. Can I get a second?
Second.
All right. There's no other comments. So Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye. Okay, we're on to the public record and we have a speaker, Blair.
Hi, thank you for the clarification, Councilperson Cohen. It's an important clarification. I do worry about San Jose Water and how they've been bought out by a Boston company and what that how that forebodes for our future. If that's the way to say it. For this item, just to reread my public record letter, as things currently stand, the CHSR line can possibly be completed by the beginning of the next decade along the Highway 99 corridor from LA to Bakersfield to Merced to Stockton to Sacramento. An ACE Express rail line can be developed from Stockton to San Jose and work as a commute line or a connector line for the CHSR into the SF Bay area for a 10 to 15 year period, I feel. And in the waiting time for the remaining CHSR to formally be built in the San Jose or Alameda County, that may take until the 2040s. I hope this can be of help in simple planning at this time. Please note CHR planning can change fairly quickly. To return to some of my words from previous months, there may be an overall leadership position Santa Clara County has for the CHR to arrive in San Jose eventually, but Alameda County ideas can be important as we are all trying to understand the speed and convenience to connect to San Jose, Merced, and the Central Valley. A reminder that with upcoming Bay Area natural disaster preparedness worries of the next 5 to 10 years, Bay Area communities and their local governments need the efforts of cooperation and understanding, not competition, from people throughout the state at this time. The MTC can help assist in the needed good communication between all SF Bay Area counties at this time. And don't forget to have the staff and people at BART, that they may have a library of knowledge and decades of good precedents and advice that can help make things more clear when needed. Good luck with the CHR issue. Thank you. CHSR issue.
Paul?
Thank you, Vice Mayor. In the letters from the public, there's a letter from District 6 Neighborhood Leaders Group regarding the opportunity housing. And that's why we as a city, by our silence with regard to the redlining, like explicitly having a study session on the redlining and how much of those deeds in the homes in Willow Glen there's blood on them. There's literal blood on those deeds because the oppression and the death that happened in Salsipuedes is directly connected to the redlining that happened in Willow Glen. You can't dissociate the two. So when we talk about redlining in the general sense from the dyes, we really need to be more explicit about what did that mean socially. And I'll give you one example. I don't speak Spanish. Why? Because it was allowed for the teachers in San Jose Unified School District to beat, humiliate, degrade children in San Jose Unified School District as a part of this larger system of segregation. and discrimination against Chicanos. At the same time, she was forced to stand up and pledge allegiance to a flag that guaranteed her the right to expression, not English, but expression. So there's this contradiction in the moral authority that the United States tries to indoctrinate us to believe. And we would benefit as a city to articulate specifically what redlining is, because Oliverio is trying to state that they have a right to have these single family homes in Willow Glen. We all know that what that right was built on, the bodies of my ancestors.
Thank you, Paul. That's it for public comments. Bringing it back to the committee. I see no hands raised. Can I get a motion, please?
Motion to
Move
approve.
approval. I'll second.
All right. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye. On to the consent calendar. I see we have a public speaker, Blair.
Hi, thank you. Blair Beekman here. There is a lot of retroactive approval of dumpster date items on the consent calendar, and it was just a nice reminder to myself that I feel that dumpster days can really be a way to actually bring like all parts of a neighborhood together. You know, the homeless parts, the everyday people, homeowners, and just a hodgepodge of interesting people. And it's a way to just meet people. I mean, that's its ideal, and I hope that can be continued, because it's the good communication between different groups of society that I think is what is important in this life. And that's why I love mixed income housing ideas so much. And, to totally sequester and, keep people secluded from different groups in this life is a bit harmful, I think. I think there's a much better, interesting mix when everybody's all together. And for people to socialize and connect and through dumpster day stuff is important, I think, for a local neighborhood and a community and a city. So good luck with that issue. And, so I didn't mean to ruffle feathers with my CHSR words, but, it was my intention just to kind of give, my feelings, how things stand, so it can be informational and you can make kind of your own decisions, from that, basically, is how I wanted to present it. Thank you.
Thank you. Bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion, please?
Move approval.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen,
Aye.
Davis,
Aye.
Morales,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye. Okay, the next item is the monthly report of activities for February 2021 by the city auditor.
Good afternoon, council members. Joe Royce, City Auditor. As Vice Mayor mentioned, we have our monthly report activities for February 2021. We've got a number of projects underway. We have a few things that will be coming out, either have already been released in March or coming out shortly in March, as you saw in the earlier agendas. The balance of our work plan and the progress of our work plan is attached to the memo. I ask that you approve the monthly report, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you, Joe. I don't see any public comments. Wait, spoke too soon. Blair?
Hi, Blair Beekman here. Glad you caught it. My hand was raised a little late. Thank you. For this item, I'm in love with the fact of this item and all the things that it offers each month. And I think it's a great way just to offer a reminder that if anyone from the public, wants to really comment on how the city is working to review this monthly audit process, I mean, there's just a ton of things they're working on, including police issues, that a person can address here at this time and have their voice be heard. So with that all said, I want to voice my feelings about community energy compliance, clean energy energy risk management practices. And, it's been a bit of a learning experience for San Jose Community Energy. I've been attending East Bay Community Energy meetings, and they really just went full into the subsidy program ideas. And from that, they were able to create, their entire portfolio for this year that is mostly clean energy. And they don't have to rely on dirty fossil fuel energy the way San Jose is at this time. And now San Jose is now asking themselves, what is good subsidy ideas and plans? So I just thought I would throw that out there informationally, and good luck what we can do. I have a, I feel we have to start to address nuclear now and learn how to step away from it, not move forward into it, as Councilperson Jones has offered, and in the next few years really make commitments to our really important renewable ideas and overall good practices. We don't have to grow apathetic in the next few years. We can grow strong and build our good practice and help transition out of future natural disaster problems easier, I think, with good ideals at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. So bringing it back to the, I'm sorry, Paul? Go ahead, Paul. We can't, Paul? We can't hear you. I think you're still on mute.
Yeah, what happens is that, what happens is that we're not on mute. What happens is that it doesn't trigger because of Zoom. Sometimes the Zoom, like when you say go ahead, it doesn't immediately come up for us to mute. And so sometimes it's frustrating because there's nothing there, but you're asking us like as if there's some issue on our end,
Okay.
and it's not. And that's like one of the frustrating things about having these meetings within the context of COVID. I mean, we don't. I mean, I'm already powerless enough as it is. I'm living in poverty in the city that my ancestors built. And so this constant suppression and oppression of the human voice and the human spirit manifesting in these public and governmental circles, it's like, and I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I know people experience powerlessness. Or I'm sorry, I need to get to the topic. I'm sorry to say that.
I was just about to say that, Paul.
I got you, man. I got you.
Right.
I got you.
Thank you.
Now, what I'd like to ask is with respect to the auditor. Conexión is an organization that does a lot of work and a lot of advocacy, and I'm looking through it, and the only time that is any public acknowledgement of nonprofits in the city is Somos, and they do excellent work. I know Victor does excellent work. I know Camille, excellent work. However, I think we need to start expanding our outreach. Conexión has probably 15 departments to deal with juvenile impacted kids. They deal with CPS. They deal with mothers. I mean, just today, I'm passing out formula and diapers to senoras coming to Conexión, and so I'd really like to at least pose the question, why has there been no outreach with Conexión? Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. That's it for public comments. Bringing it back to the committee. Can I get a motion, please?
Move approval.
Second.
So moved and seconded. Tony?
Arenas,
Yes.
Cohen? Cohen? Davis? Davis,
Aye. Sorry, my unmute didn't.
Prowess,
Aye.
Jones.
Aye,
Thank you.
thank you, and thank you, Joe.
Vice Mayor,
Okay,
if I could, this is Henry from the mayor's office. I just wanted to address Paul's concern really quick about the lag between being able to unmute and being allowed to speak. Sometimes when there's a transition back and forth between public comment and coming back to council, there's a delay between my ability to quickly provide him the ability to speak in the meeting. So I hope that addresses his concerns, that sometimes it's just hard for me to quickly allow him to speak.
thank you, Henry.
Can I
And
comment to that, Chair?
yes, go ahead, Councilmember Rawls.
That's extremely helpful just to hear, and I think maybe helpful for Paul as well, just to recognize that there is a human sort of behind, right, the screen that is in charge of trying to move on to some of the tasks like hitting the unmute or inviting people to speak and stuff like that. And it can easily get forgotten, even by myself, right, as we're in this world of technology, that you're just kind of assuming as we make comments or expect for the next things to move along or whatever it may be, that there's actually typically a human being behind there having to kind of make things happen. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
All right, thank you. So last item is open forum, and Paul, go ahead.
Hi, it's Blair Beekman. I got the unmute. Should I just go?
No, go ahead, Blair.
Okay, thank you. Hi, Blair Beekman. Thanks a lot for the meeting today. Thank you for your patience to hear my attempts at being simple and informational, and that, to give, for you to give simple informational ideas so you can help make your own decisions. That's my goal. Thank you to Henry and both Henry and Paul for, and Councilperson Perales, everybody just establishing that, there can be a bit of a lag sometimes. I have that problem too. And it was nice to hear. Thanks. I hope, we had a rules in open government a couple of weeks ago that I hope you can consider versatility with a clock. Everything doesn't have to be 60 seconds. Sometimes it can be, 80 seconds, 90 seconds. I think that the 80 or 90 seconds can be a good variation, but that it's a little tough to learn how to coordinate that. We're all used to the either 60 seconds or 120 seconds. So, good luck in how you do that. I think 80 and 90 seconds is an important extra tool to learn how to use, and that takes time to navigate. About yesterday's meeting about airport issues, I understand that you've been practicing, jet fuel ideas, for a long time now. I just have very, very many concerns that that's bad practices overall about you want to just burn a ton of more jet fuel in order for better high-rise heights. And that's really hurtful. I mean, you want to rebuild the airline industry basically, and it's hurtful. With 10 seconds, I just wanted to remind, I've learned incredibly good practices of what voting rights can be and what voting rights were practiced in this last election time. I hope that can be positive, good energy for all of us at this time and in the next few months. Thanks.
Thank you. And next up is Paul.
Thank you, Paul Soto. I'm reading from the California Research Bureau, California State Library. Quote, the 1850 Act and subsequent amendments facilitated removing California Indians from their traditional lands, separating at least a generation of children and adults from their families, languages, and cultures from 1850 to 1865, and indenturing Indian children and adults to whites. The relevant sections provided that any person can go before a justice of the peace to obtain Indian children for indenture. The justice determined whether or not compulsory means were used to obtain the child. If the justice was satisfied that no coercion occurred, the person obtained a certificate. This is what happened in San Jose from the establishment of Fallon placing that flag in July 14th of 1846. You see, and there hasn't been a point where the native populations, and I'm part of that native population. I have my documentation from the BIA. I'm a California Mission Indian. And so I'm going to continue to challenge my government to acknowledge this publicly and the associated traumas and crimes against humanity that flow from it. And I'm in, man. I'm going to participate in that conversation. I know government itself is going to be slow in the process. Willow Glen has this. We have allowed for the residents of Willow Glen to have this sense of entitlement and this inflated sense that they are entitled to privis lex. Privis lex is a term that is used in law. It's Latin, and what it means is privis lex, separate law, which means that you have a privilege. That's where we get the word privilege, that somehow or another, the residents of Willow Glen think that they are privileged and they have separate laws that don't apply to everybody else. And I would venture to say, according to this document, we know how that was built and predicated upon. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Meeting is adjourned.